Oh shit. There she went. That was a lot of time. Hell, I probably could have just stopped right there. It would have been a tiny little bit loose, but it was basically there. Got too aggressive, weakened it. Son of a bitch. Well, start again. Alright, so I finished up the ejector. I didn't video the final product there. I had too many problems trying to do the diffuser. This is one that actually doesn't look bad. You can see it's narrowed down to almost 1/8 of an inch on the inside, but it's not quite there. It sheared off before I got there. They break at the chuck. So I haven't quite been able to get over that problem. If I put too much force too fast, or I think if I'm pushing too much material towards the chuck, I get this bulging, and eventually I get a fracture. It weakens. I was hoping that if I kept it annealed, I could keep it soft, but eventually it's just too much and it shears off. So this one wasn't good enough because it wasn't 1/8 inch ID. It had to be 1/8 inch ID or very, very close. I think the next one, I don't know if this was the last one I did or not, but eventually I just kind of gave up and I went back to the one that sheared off at the small diameter. It just had it here. This one right here, this one sheared off. And unfortunately, it was pretty much right at the 1/8 inch rod. So I went ahead and I used that diffuser, and that's what this is right here. So I lined everything up. This is everything that I made. This is 5/16 going inside the 3/8. It has the 26 thousandths ID capillary tube injecting into a piece of 1/8 inch OD or 64 thousandths ID, and then diffusing back out to the diffuser, and then I have the suction here going into the side. So I mean, all in all, it turned out okay. I could clean this thing up a little bit with muriatic acid. It does suck if you blow through it. It does pull a flame, although it's not intended for that. It's intended to receive liquid refrigerant in this end. So the video is just how I made this. My actual application for this is this funny idea I have for this refrigeration device that has a single moving part, and I'm going to actually attempt to build that today. I'm not expecting it to work, but this was a challenge to build. I learned a lot in the process of constructing this, but I definitely have a long ways to go in improving my tool. I did resand it yesterday and repolish it, and still had largely the same problems. This spinning in the air stuff is difficult. It's very hard to do, and spinning a distance from the chuck is very hard as well. Puts a lot of stress on things. However, the method I showed in the very last part of the actual operation of making this thing, where I had the 5/16 rod in the end, I think it allowed it to spread and be supported at the same time, so it allowed it to actually move instead of it building up. In the past, if I chucked them up on both sides and then tried to spin, if it tried to elongate it all, it would end up actually rippling. The copper didn't have anywhere to go, and as I was trying to reduce it, if it work hardened too much and I didn't anneal properly, it'd get flat spots on it, or get oblonged in some such way. So anyway, I have a lot of little pieces here I can play with, and some of these are actually useful if I wanted to make another one of these, although I'd probably start over again and just keep practicing. So those are just a couple of things that I've made. I did make some parts for 1935 monitor top I have in the other building. I think if I were to make something like this again, I would probably do it in a method like I did with this diffuser here, where I would support the outside here with a pipe or a piece of round stock to allow this thing to expand. I still don't think I would be able to successfully spin this in one long piece. It's just too thin here in the center. But maybe in the future I'll get to that point. So Curious to know if anybody has any comments or suggestions on how to improve my tooling or methods to do this a little bit better. And it'd be really neat to see somebody else do some spinning of tubing. There's plenty of work being done with artistic bowls and whatnot. So yeah, it was a long video. Thanks for watching.